around, I normally use the catchway.
Hello YouTubies, I'm Grant, this is The Garage, this is Granty's Garage, and in this video I'm going to take you through in detail 3 common problems with a Porsche 986 and how to prevent and resolve them. Now, if you're a returning viewer, you'll know I love my 986. I've done a lot of work with it. We've been put together a playlist of videos of how to in order to help look after these cars. If you're a new watcher, please consider subscribing if you have one of these or are considering them. We're building a library, as I say, of videos of how to DIY jobs in order to help maintain them, keep the maintenance costs lower, reducing you needing to pay for labor for a mechanic. Because one of the trade-offs with these cars for a lot of people is whilst they are very cheap, they feel they have to spend quite a lot keeping them going because they are higher mileage now and do require service items being done. Let's have a go at doing them ourselves. Hit the subscribe button. Now, these cars are possibly, and certainly in my opinion, the best driving car you can get for the money, and probably infinitely in that respect. The drivability, the fun for the value is incredible, but these cars are not without their problems. 3 of the common ones that I see in the groups that I'm part of online, I will be covering in this video. They are issues with windows dropping or micro switch latch elements such as in the roof, so that you can look at diagnosing what's the actual problem and what you need to be aware of in order to fix it. We're going to be looking at the potentially rather awkward design of the battery being in the frunk, which is behind an electrically operated switch. You can work the problem out there. And we're going to be talking about the maintenance of a certain area in respect to the drain holes, which, if not done, especially if the car's kept outside, can have catastrophic car-ending results if you don't look after them. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. So the first one of these issues that I want to include in this, because it's one of those that pops up all the time, is issues with the windows, particularly with them dropping or returning to their normal height under regular operation. When you open the door, as this is a frameless window or door, as you pull open the lever on the outside, the window drops slightly so that it releases from the roof. Then you open the door. When you close the door, it then returns to its normal position. That is the normal operation for these, but some owners will find over time it won't do that all of a sudden. And there is a couple of reasons why, but most commonly this is down to microswitches. I'll go into that in a second. I'm just going to talk quickly about how you would diagnose what you need to start looking at in this respect. Now, if you are having the window drop issue, that being it not going down when you open the door and not going back up when you close it, and or either, there's a couple of things that it could be naturally. There always is. The easiest way to understand what you might need to look at is to then go and operate the windows with the button. If they operate normally under the control of the button, then you're probably looking at a microswitch issue. If they do not operate correctly under the control of the button, you either have a problem, more than likely, especially if it's only one, with the actuator itself that powers the window, or the regulating cables that it sits on that ultimately are responsible for its travel. If you're having that issue, they're the first things to look at. When I bought this car, it had a slackened cable. So over the years, the cable had eventually stretched just enough. It didn't quite have enough tension to control and pull the window around as it was supposed to. Replace that part, absolutely fine. You can work out the difference between the two quite easily, because when you press the button, you should hear the actuator, the motor, trying to move it. And if it's not moving, it's probably going to be the cables in the regulator assembly. If you hear nothing at all, it's probably the motor. If both of them are not working, worth checking your fuses. So we'll make the assumption that under the button, the window is operating normally, which is often the case with these cars, but the window is not dropping. There are micro switches all over these cars, and people have all sorts of problems with them when they eventually fail. If you're having a micro switch issue, I would almost 100% guarantee you are having that problem on the driver's side door. And that is naturally because this is the most used doors on any car. There are two you want to be concerned with in regards to a window not operating when you open and close the door. The first one of those is built into the interior door handle. I changed these on my car, and in that video, which I will link below, you'll be able to see where I pointed out, first of all, how to access that switch, where it sits, and ultimately, as you pull this lever from inside, the window will drop when the door is shut. Mine's not going to do anything. The door is open. The other one of them is built into the catch that is linked to the exterior door handle. So as you pull the handle open, it clicks that switch, tells the computer, drop the windows just a tiny bit. Might be the computer, it might not be. Drop the windows a bit and then open the door. Then as the catch meets the receiver end, if you like, on the door frame, the door knows it's then shut and it puts that window back up. So the easy way to work out which micro switch is the problem is work out if it's responding to the interior handle or not, or the exterior handle or not. Once you've worked that out, it's a simple case, in essence, of opening up the door and go and replace that switch, and then you should be good as gold. That will fix the dropping window issue when you open the door, getting in and out of the car. Now, one of the other issues that you may have with windows dropping or not when they are supposed to is in relation to when you are lowering the roof. There is also another micro switch in play here that we need to be thinking about as well. So if you are pulling the lever to then go and press the button to draw the roof back and nothing is happening, there's a couple of things that could be happening, of course, but the handbrake or the e-brake does need to be engaged. If you've got it slightly down and it's maybe not engaging the switch, it's always worth pulling the lever all the way up just to make sure you give it the best chance and then try again. If it's still not trying to go and you won't hear any motors, you won't hear anything going, then maybe the micro switch that's built into the bottom of the handbrake is what needs sorting out. It's not getting a signal enough to know that it's parked in order for the roof to be able to move backwards. That's your first one. Now, sometimes you will find, if you're having this issue, as you press the button to release the lever and you pull it down, the windows are supposed to drop, much like when you open the door. If they do not, then it's possible the micro switch, which is in the receiving hole for the clip on the bracket that holds the roof in place when it's closed, has failed. And that's up here in this space, and you will need to replace that or fix it if your windows are not dropping, otherwise the roof is not going to go back. In the same breath, but in reverse, when you close the roof and you lock that back down and the doors are closed, the window should go all the way back to the top position. As the doors are shut, the car knows that it's closed and the roof isn't going to be impacted by the glass. And if they do not, it's likely again that it's this switch up here. So those are quite small, simple micro switches. The only other one that I think is really a bugger for people in the cars without realizing, or the other ones, are in the frunk, the boot, or the frunk and the trunk, depending where you're from, and glove box. Because if the car uses those to know when those are closed. If they are not closed, then the light will be on inside. And if you leave your car parked up for a while, that potentially could be giving you a battery drain. That's micro switches.
The next couple of minutes of this video will probably result in you doing a couple of minutes maintenance a month that very easily could lead to saving your car entirely. In these cars, underneath the seats, there are control modules, ECU, immobiliser, various other parts. Sometimes people getting the window faults will also have a fault with the spoiler, and actually it being up when it shouldn't be. And actually that could be a problem of something like more related to being a bit more sinister. One of those control units being damaged by water. Now, the reason the car is in service mode is because I want to access the 4 most critical drain holes in this respect. The cars that are kept outside typically, or do a lot of driving in bad weather, they will have leaves, bits of debris, get into those drain holes, block them up, and then the rainwater overflows and either runs down the back to under the seats or over the firewall and to under the seats and damages those control units. The repair for those, they're pretty pricey items compared to the value of the car. They're even more pricey to get Porsche to code them all so that the car works properly. Therefore, what I'm about to show you is how to check these drain holes, how to clean them if they are blocked, and ultimately if you do that a couple of minutes a month, especially if your car lives outside, you will be able to avoid one of the most common problems people have with these, particularly when they're kept outside. Just a very quick small disclaimer, I filmed this part of the video after the bit you're about to see. That's not a coolant leak. So as mentioned, I have the car in service mode. We're going to show you the 4 most critical drain holes in relation to avoiding the problem of damaging the computers. Coming in from the rear in service mode, that hole down there, and exactly the same on the opposite side. So this is what we're talking about. That's your number 1 and your number 2. And your 3 and 4 opposites again, each side of the battery. Coming in from the front, this guy here, and the same on the other side. Thankfully, there is a very simple way to test if your drain holes are blocked. Get some water. Pour it in, no matter how unorthodox it feels, and it should run straight through. If it's blocked, it's not going to. If you think you have a bit of a blockage, you could get a measured amount of water, a receptacle on the bottom to catch it, measure how much comes through. If it's pretty much what you put down there, you're all good. And do that with all 4 of them. If you suspect they're blocked, maybe just try unclogging them first. Let's show you how to do that. I've seen people use different things with different degrees of results. One of the most popular things to use is called a trombone cleaner, which is effectively a long, wobbly, but quite strong stick. This is actually a erroneously purchased dipstick for a previous car I used to own, and it had never been used. This works perfectly for me. You can simply push it down the holes, and any blockages in there, it will push through the bottom. Things like leaves and bits and pieces that are just come with the weather, come with the rain, they are typically what are blocking those up. And some people have even 3D printed and developed some filter catchers to go on the top so that anything that would go down them is just caught there, and you just need to remember to go and clean those. That's a really simple 1 or 2 minutes, bar getting it in service mode, to just check your drains. A couple of minutes a month that could save your car, save you thousands in repairs. For the record, those are not the only drain holes on these cars. I'll link below a video that's called The Top Things to Know If You Own One of These, that details a few more of them. Those are just the 4 relating to one of the most common issues, one of the most expensive issues that people have with these when they don't undertake the proper maintenance. The last of the 3 common issues we're going to cover in this is a frunk lockout. Now, what that means is, first of all, if you have an older model of one of these, where you have a mechanically operated frunk or bonnet release, then you're not affected by this problem. The slightly later models, however, have an electric switch which opens the bonnet or the frunk, depending on what you call it. There's a problem with that though. A lot of people use these as weekend cars, occasional drive cars, and other people do put them away for the winter, largely dependent on their preference and where they live. But if your battery dies, you haven't got any power to get to the battery to charge it. This is a bit of a contentious point. A lot of people say this is a design flaw. Now, Porsche did put in the fuse panel, I'll show it to you shortly, a terminal that if you connect a positive to, and if you connect a negative to a ground, I normally use the catch on the inside of the door, then you are able to jump the car. But you need a powerful enough jump pack, or you need another battery. You cannot charge it that way. So I'm going to show you, first of all, how you can do that if you're in a pinch. and I'm going to show you what I've done to prevent this ever being a problem. I will say now I've got a full video of how I've done that, so I'll explain it in theory, but if you want to check that out, it will be in the description below. As promised, here is the terminal. This is the fuse box, and I'm going to attempt to do this with one hand without compromising the footage. The terminal is this one here, this little red guy. You pull him out, there's a metal piece on the top. That you can connect your jumper to, and then I normally ground that here. With a strong enough jump pack or another battery, you can give the car enough charge for the electric frunk or trunk release to open. Well, Grant, what can we do if we have this set up to make this never be a problem again? This is what I've done, and this is what you'll see fully detailed in the video link below. You'll see on my battery I have a black terminal coming off of the negative and this red one coming off of the positive side. Where do they go? They go through a rubber grommet that is in the firewall there, behind the battery, that then comes out into the cabin here. And when I'm not using him, I just tuck him away in that gap up there. This is a quick connector for my trickle charger. So if the car does die, which occasionally, if it gets left for a long time, it might, I can just open the door, which you could do with a flat battery, and I can put the car on charge. Full video of that is detailed in the comments below. So there you have 3 of the most common problems people encounter with these cars that are very much avoidable in most cases. Windows at least know how to diagnose them. We've run through how to diagnose issues in 2 respects of them, how to prevent them in 2 cases of those, and what to look out for in the other, and how to go about working out what you need to solve, which is relatively simple for very annoying problems, and potentially shown you how 5 minutes work a month might save your entire car. If that's been helpful, please consider subscribing. I'm building a whole playlist of how to look after these cars specifically. I've got other bits where we do modifications to it, and indeed other project cars. If you found that video helpful, give us a thumbs up. A comment in the section below helps the video get engagement and therefore reach more people, help more people. And I very much hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.